the 2000s, these dresses were in style. Look at my green toes. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna do something fun, something that I really haven't done on my channel, so I'm actually quite excited to try something new and share with you my expertise, because if you didn't know, and some of you already know, that I have worked in art direction and graphic design for many years prior to my other careers in fashion and in higher education. So I'm going to take you through the process of putting together digital artwork for a album. I am an artist, singer, songwriter, so if you are an artist, this is for you, to show you how easy it is to create in Photoshop, especially these days with all the AI tools that they have now. So this is the album cover that I had designed in 2010, so many years ago. I am a singer-songwriter, if you don't know, so this whole artwork and album cover I designed myself. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna recreate this very quickly actually, because Photoshop has really evolved over the years, especially with all the AI features that it does have now. But this is high res quality. I used both InDesign and Photoshop back in the day. And this is a fold over the way it used to be, and with all the credits on the inside, another artwork and photo shoot that I had, some professional photos that I had done. I don't know if you could see this, but there's little water droplets at the back. The album is called Through the Rain, so that's at the time what made sense to me. I also liked wearing pink, and I don't know if you know, but in the 2000s, these dresses were in style. Here is also the CD itself with the label and the back. It's got 12 tracks on it. So what I'm gonna do now is, because I don't have the files, okay, this was designed in 2010. I no longer have the files. My G5 computer, it broke down. I don't have those files. So I want to get this on digital distribution online on all major platforms. And in order for me to do that, I need the files, the songs, which I do have, but the artwork you also need. So in a specific format and specifications, it does have to be a decent quality. They call it high res. However, online, it's not really high res. It's 72 DPI. But when you print something, it's much higher quality, much higher in resolution. For printing, it's 300 DPI. I also use the pen tool, if anyone knows what the pen tool is, for every little portion of my hair and every portion of the curves to remove the backgrounds. But I'm going to show you a tool today, how easy it is to do now to remove backgrounds in Photoshop. So I wish I had that back in the day. Unfortunately, I have to recreate this, but thankfully, because Photoshop has evolved, it won't take me too long to do. So the only thing that might be slightly different will be the fonts at the bottom, because I have no idea what fonts I used in 2010 for my name or anything like that. So I'm gonna just pick something similar. Really, it's just not gonna really matter, but I'm gonna pick something similar. So here's my workspace, and we're gonna get right into a couple things. Okay, so I'm in Photoshop right now, and I have two files open. That's what you saw on the CD, the physical CD, is this background that I had to actually image source, and I did find it, thankfully, because it was so many years already back. And I have the original photography, and this is high res photography. So if I look at the image size, it's 300 DPI, which is good for print. So I'm going to cancel this. So what I originally used to remove the background back in the day is, because it was high res, was the pen tool. And I still recommend using the pen tool for high res quality photos to remove the background. I wouldn't rely so much on the AI tools that they give now. Those are fantastic for web quality. And because this is going to be online only, no longer printed, I can get away with using those tools. So the tool that I'm going to use is the quick selection tool. So when you click on the quick selection tool, there's more than one area. Up here it says select subject. Down here it also says select subject. If I click on this, it will identify the subject, which is me. In this case, the subject is me, right? So I'm going to zoom in. You can kind of see there's the selection there and nothing else is included. So it's doing a pretty good job. However, sometimes you can't really see every little portion that it picks up. So another area you can go to is select and mask, and you can change your views to see different views, right? And this allows you to see, I'm going to zoom in, if I can see the white background. So let me just go in here. So you see how this little area here, I can still see a bit of the white background. So this is what this is useful for by changing the view mode. So I'm gonna just fix these areas. So I don't wanna see any white because the selection will keep this white in it when I remove the background, and I don't want that. So what you can do is still use this tool, the quick selection tool. It's the minus sign actually removes from the selection. And do you see my brush size? My brush size is a little, actually, I'll just do it a little smaller, and you can go in and just click, and that's it. Okay, so but everything else, look at my green toes. Everything else looks good, and this screams 2000 fashion. All right, so this is looking pretty good to me. So what I'm gonna do now is press OK, which it still hasn't removed the background yet because we haven't told it to. It's just showing the selection. So what I'm gonna do now is, again, in this little window here, you can click on this button, create mask. So it just removed the entire background, and you could see here that the mask has been created. What is the size? So my distributor, my music distributor is CD Baby. You may have a different one, but this size here, 3000 by 3000 pixels maximum, or 1400 by 1400 is the quality that they need to follow. And you can have it in these specific formats, file formats. So CD Baby is my music distribution where I upload the artwork and the music. So there's quite a bit of things you do have to organize before you do that. So the album cover is the thing that's missing in my case that I need to create in this specific format. So let me just go back into here, and that's when I'm going to create a new file. And so down in this area, I can type in, I already have it here. You can type in the pixels. 72 dpi is the quality going up for web. RGB is the correct color mode as well for web. So I'm going to create. So here it is. And now I'm just going to bring in this image here. I'll copy this into this image here and paste it. I'm going to have to size it too. Okay, and just see how this goes. Also on the album, it was flipped over. So I'm gonna just see, I can see this little area down here where I can flip it over because it was like that. Next, I'm gonna copy this image into this area. And that's how easy it is, okay? So I have to make this rather large. That's what I did. I actually wasn't showing much of my legs on the album cover. It was just like somewhere like this. That's where it was, but then I have to make this bigger. Okay. That looks pretty identical. So the last thing I have to do is put in a bit of a gradient down at the bottom here. If I recall, I remember putting a white background behind and then putting a bit of a feathering, a gradient effect down at the bottom here. So I'm just gonna add another layer, and I'm going to go in and add a solid color, which is white, okay? And I'm going to bring that below. Okay, so here it is. I'm gonna go in here now and add a mask to it where I can go into the gradient tool. There's two types of gradients. The gradient here, I find that the classic gradient is easier to control for this particular effect. I want to kind of add a bit of a gradient effect, like it's disappearing the image, so it blends into the background. So in order to do that, I'm just going to make sure that I have my black fill in front, and I need the black to transparent, and I'm just going to go in slightly, and I'll click and drag up. I think I put much, much more into it, something like that. Okay, let me just go in and just take my font, go in here and change the color before I start. Okay, so here's the blue from here, but I'm just gonna go slightly darker than this blue. Okay, and I'm gonna go in and I have a font already called Professor. It's ironic, but yeah, it's called Professor, and I don't mind it. So I'm just gonna type in my name. Just gonna take a look at how that looks. It is different. I'm gonna zoom in. It's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same. It's fairly different actually. The J is different, the C is different, the Z is different. Quite a few characters are different. So I'm just gonna see what else we have here. This one is pretty close. This one is really close. It's just the J is majorly different here. Okay, but everything else is pretty close. This is the closest. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it for now. It's actually, my name is fairly close to the skirt. So I'm gonna go there and bring it over to the other side as well. And then the name of the album. I'm gonna change the font and the color because the font looks like it's just a sans serif font. Avenir. I'm just gonna choose Avenir. This is all in caps as well. So I'm gonna go into my properties to character and change this to all caps. And I'm just gonna type in, I have to change the color too. It's pretty close. So Through the Rain is actually smaller than Jennifer Cortez on my album, somewhere around here, and it overlaps on the album. So underneath the E and slightly in there, something like that. Change the color to, it's another blue, but it's like just gonna choose the blues from here and see what that looks like. It's almost like has more green in it. It's too dark. Something like that. So yeah, I probably now wouldn't overlap this, but on my album from the 2000s, that's how it is. I'm just gonna grab these two, bring this down closer to the bottom, and it's close to the skirt, but also close to the bottom. Everything is there. I'm gonna keep this as a PSD file, so make sure if I ever need the working file, it's there. In order for me to upload this onto the music distributor, it cannot be a PSD file. This is the working file. I need a flattened file. So I need to go into File. I can save a copy and get the JPEG. So I really hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed creating with you. And if you're into that, please like my channel and don't forget to subscribe. Ciao.